Good morning, children. Today we are going to start the chapter, that is chapter number 4, elections. Okay, so as you all know, we are referring class 9 ICSE History and Civics, more from Morning Star. All right. So in the syllabus, you just check. We are including only those things which are there, which are given in the box. You see the meaning, composition of election commission, that is, we need to do it in brief, and after that followed by direct and indirect election, general election, midterm election, and by election. Okay, so first of all, what we need to know over here is you need to know the meaning of election. Okay, so when we talk about election, we need to keep it in our mind. Okay, so where there are groups of people, okay, and they are electing a representative who could go and further represent them. Okay, so now election is something that over here we are learning about the election that is taking place in our country, that is India. All right, so now as you all are well aware, and as you all have been learning about the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, isn't it? So now our country, it consists of one parliament, isn't it? So now under that parliament comes two houses, isn't it? The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Okay. So now how the members of the parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, are elected, we will come to know in this chapter. Okay, so first of all, I would like you to underline the definition of the election that is given over here, page number 144, the meaning of elections. I want you all to underline this 3 lines from here. Okay, so now directly moving ahead with the kinds of election now. Now there are indirect election and direct election. These are the types of election. Got it? So now direct election, as the word suggests, direct means people represent their representatives directly, and that takes place in the lower house. That means people elect their representatives directly in the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha. Now in the Lok Sabha there are altogether 545 seats. Okay, so out of 545 members, 543 members, they are elected directly by the people. Okay, and 2 members, it consists of the Anglo-Indian members. Those 2 members, they are elected by the president. Got it? So 543 members are elected directly by the people. So the election that takes place in the Lok Sabha, that is the lower house, we may call it as a direct election. Alright, so now we move ahead to the indirect election. So now indirect election takes place in Rajya Sabha. Okay, and in Rajya Sabha there are 245, isn't it? No, yeah, 250. The Rajya Sabha consists, please underline, the Rajya Sabha consists of not more than 250 members. Out of these, 238 members are elected by the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of each state. See? And as 2 members in the Lok Sabha are elected by the president, in the Rajya Sabha, the remaining 12 members are nominated by the president from among persons having special knowledge of practical experience in matters such as literature, science, art, and social service. Now see, in this portion, that is election of the president and the vice president, over here what we will come to know is that how the president is elected. Okay, so over here you just need to know that President of India is elected indirectly by the members of an electoral college which consists of the elected members of both the houses of parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and also the Rajya Sabha, and the elected members of the legislative assemblies of states. Now MLAs, this is members of the legislative assemblies. In short, you can write MLA of the states including National Capital Territory of Delhi and the Union Territory of Pondicherry. Okay, so this is it from here. In general elections, what you need to know is that, in this election, it is held to elect the members of the Lok Sabha after expiry of the normal term. That means when the election takes place, at that time you need to know that a person has expired his service in that particular house. Okay, so at that time the election that is held, we can know that as general elections. All right, moving ahead with the midterm election. Midterm election, especially it takes place when there is a retirement, when a person is retired, or when he resigns, or something happens that he goes impeachment. At that time this election takes place. Or in short, you can go over here, midterm election, an election which is held in the middle of a period of office. You can read this from terms to remember, page number 148. Okay, and by elections, when a seat which is held by any member of the legislative assembly in the center or state falls vacant on account of death, resignation of the member before completion of his or her term, to fill up this vacancy, the election which is held is called by-election. That means, if you are elected, that means, like, suppose if I am elected as a member, okay, so if I am suffering from health disease or something like that, and if I am not being able to continue in the office, okay, and if I am dead, then my place will be vacant in that particular office, isn't it? So someone needs to come and he or she needs to fill the vacant place. Suppose if I have worked in the office, for example, for 2 years, the remaining 3 years, the one who comes and fills my place, he or she will continue with the term of the office. Okay, so that kind of election is known as by-election. Okay, now another topic we will move ahead with is the election commission. Okay, now election commission was set up in the year in 1950. I want every one of you to jot down this, that the first election commission was formed in the year 1950. Okay, so now as you all know that election is the best way to choose our representatives, isn't it? So now let us see, like India is a federal country. Now what is federal means that, each and every state, they has their own representatives, all right, but when something mandatory or something important decision is supposed to be made, or for example, let us take the example of the current situation, isn't it? COVID-19, it is prevailing in the whole country, isn't it? So for that reason, we are an independent state, all right. The government though has interference, but in our internal matters, we or let us say our chief ministers, they take the sole responsibility to guide us. So in our internal matter, the chief minister is held responsible to provide us the guideline, but overall the chief ministers are also being controlled by the center, isn't it? So when something like this happens, when we the state chief ministers, all the chief ministers, they get united and they has to be obliged towards whatever the decision is taken by the center. So that kind of country, we may call it a federal country. So India is a federal country, and we need to keep in mind that in India, free and fair election needs to take place. Alright, so that free and fair election that is taking place in India, who will take care of that? The members of the election commission. They are fully responsible for taking care of that free and fair elections. Alright. So now let us see the composition of the election commission. For that, I want you all to underline Article 324 clauses 1 to 6 deal with the composition of the election commission and other related issues. Okay, and directly moving ahead over here, I want you all to put an asterisk over here, elections, that is general elections, what we did earlier, midterm elections and by-election. See, from 1950 to 1989, the election commission was a single member constitutional body, but after 1989, the election commission was made a multi-member body. Alright, so the two more commissioners were appointed and the Chief Election Commissioner was designated as the chairman of the commission. Thus, at present, that means presently, the election commission consists of 3 members. Now, firstly, what you have to keep it in mind is that when the election commission was first set up, that is in the year 1950, there was only one body, and after 1989 there were 2 bodies. But do not get confused, because presently there are 3 bodies which is functioning as a whole in the election commission. Got it? Now, moving ahead with the term of office and conditions of service, that is the next topic. Now, we will learn about the term of office and conditions of service. Now, firstly, they are appointed for a term of 6 years. See, they are appointed for a term of 6 years. During this tenure, if they attain the age of 65, that means the age of retirement, they shall vacate the office on the day of attaining this age. That means 65 years is the last age of their service. And number 2, the salary of the chief election, please do underline, or you can give an asterisk over there. So the Chief Election Commissioner and other such commissioners shall be equal to the salary of a Supreme Court judge, and they are also entitled to pension after retirement. Any difference of opinion between the Chief Election Commissioner and the other commissioners shall be decided in favor of the majority opinion. Okay. So the next one is powers and functions of the Election Commission. Please underline, the Election Commission has wide-ranging powers under the Representation of the People Amendment Act 1996. Okay, so the functions, I will be explaining it in the next video.